Good Saturday morning, everybody. Time to get right. Time to get right after a rough few weeks here. Time to get right after a humbling loss last week. Time to finally get one over on the team that we usually don't get one over on. So it's time for a lot of things tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. against these Los Angeles Rams, who don't really have a lot that reminds you of the team that won the Super Bowl last year, the team that has won 4 or 5 games against us over the last 2 years. Not a lot left. Not a lot left. It happened very quickly. It happened really, I'd say, faster than just about anybody expected, but it has happened. And they might be able to right the ship next year. Obviously, they're going to get some guys back, but for the moment, this Rams team is in the conversation for worst team in the NFL. They are right down there with teams like the Broncos and the Texans. So, straight up, going into this game, I'm going to say this. I know that there are definitely some people who are nervous. Some people who look at this game and go, oh, it's the Rams. You know what we do against them. It's in LA. We never get any calls in LA. The refs are going to hand the game to the Rams no matter what. Oh, Sean McVay versus Pete Carroll, etc. No. Throw it out. If we find a way to lose this game, I don't want to hear any of that after this game because none of that should apply for a game like this. None of that should apply when you're talking about a team missing quarterback, running backs, wide receivers, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, maybe even a starting cornerback, just everything that has made that team go. And this is a team, by the way, that wasn't that good even before these things started to happen. This is a team that was having problems as far back as week one when those guys were there. So at no point this year was this Rams team particularly good. And now they are in the midst of maybe the worst post Super Bowl victory hangover ever. So if the unthinkable does happen and the Rams beat us tomorrow, then I don't want to hear any of that stuff. That kind of stuff is for when the Rams are actually good. These Rams can't do anything. So it's none of that. If we lose this game, it's because we're just bad. That's the only thing that you can say. If we lose this game, we are who a lot of people thought we were going to be before the season started. Point blank. We are even worse than we were early in the year when our defense was giving up all those points. Against this team, this offense, this is different than some of the previous games where we played crippled offenses. This is beyond. So that Rams offense, Stafford's out. It looks like we're going to get John Wolford. He's going to be their quarterback. John Wolford, he's played a little bit in the NFL. Decent mobility, can run. I would expect to see a lot of running from this Rams team if he plays. Maybe some read option stuff. Maybe some designed quarterback runs. Not really a staple of the McVay offense, but you work with what you got. And right now what you have is a team with John Wolford starting at quarterback. Now you don't really have any good running backs because the Rams still hate Cam Akers, and their only other notable running back is Kyren Williams, I think the Notre Dame rookie, who good third down back, but I don't know about him playing every down, which they may end up asking him to do a little bit in these upcoming games. But Darrell Henderson's gone. He was their leading rusher, and they still kicked him out. Didn't think anything of him. That tells you how things are going over there. But they're probably going to have to run the ball because this Rams team, no Cooper Kupp, no Allen Robinson. Van Jefferson looks like he's going to play. That's the only guy in that receiver core who's any kind of a consistent threat. After that, you've got guys like Tutu Atwell, who I guess he catches one long pass every month or something. That seems to be his modus operandi. So I don't see how they're going to be able to pass the ball a lot, especially because their offensive line, with the exception of Havenstein, who is playing pretty good at right tackle, is bad. It's bad run blocking. It's bad pass blocking. They haven't done a good job replacing Whitworth. And then when Noteboom went down, they've done an even worse job replacing him. There's just not a lot to say about this Rams offense. The only remnants of the team that won the Super Bowl last year that are left that are still playing at a respectable level are Havenstein and Higbee. And even Higbee, I don't think he's 100% right now. I think that he's in the midst of his own injury problems trying to tough through it. So there's not much to say. If this defense cannot find a way to stop the run against this running game, and I understand they have a bit of a dual threat quarterback, but if they can't find a way to stop this running game, you're not going to stop the run against anybody. So if you don't figure it out this week, then you're back to historically bad. Like a few weeks ago when you played Tampa, you reverted back to bad, right? Played bad on defense in that game. And then against the Raiders, it fell back again to like worst in the league type bad. But if you let this Rams team dictate the pace of the game on the ground against you, you're all the way back to being historically bad. That way we talk about it. The way we talked about it earlier this year, early last year, early the year before. One of the worst defenses that has ever taken an NFL football field. So that's what I can say about that, man. You should be able to get pressure on Wolford whenever he drops back. Should be able to flood this interior offensive line that is not particularly good. If Brian Allen doesn't suit up, and I think that's kind of 50-50 right now, their best interior lineman is Ode Abushi. We remember Ode Abushi, don't we? Yeah. Not exactly the guy you want spearheading your interior offensive line. So that's how I'm going to put it. There's not a whole lot to say about the way this Rams team is going to play on offense because they're so limited in what they can do. They don't have any receivers that really threaten you. Honestly, Tutu Atwell's ability to streak down the field on a go route is probably about the most threatening thing on that offense right now. So you better be ready for this one. This is beyond, and I got, there have been some people who have said, well, the Raiders had a bunch of injuries too. This is different. The Raiders had their quarterback. The Raiders had their running back. The Raiders had their superstar receiver. The Raiders actually had their offensive line. Rams, this is a different level of bad. They're down multiple receivers. They're kind of down running backs because Henderson's gone and they don't really play Akers that much. Maybe they're going to have to play him now, but they certainly don't like him. And they're down offensive linemen. They're just, it's beyond what was going on with that Raiders team. So, bottom line is this. If we come out of this game and we've given up a bunch to that Rams offense in its current state, it's not a whole lot to do with the Rams. It has to do with us. And on defense, obviously the Rams defense is still playing okay. That's the side of the ball that is kind of holding things up a little bit. Their metrics this year are okay. They're certainly not great. And now they've lost Aaron Donald, maybe their best player. He wasn't having the same impact on that team this year. I think that's fair to say. He was on pace for like 21, 22 pressures compared to previous years when he's had well over 40. One year he actually had like 70. So he's not the same player, but not having him in there, combined with not having Ashawn Robinson in there, you're taking pretty much all the bite out of that front. And Terrell Lewis is going to be out as well. So you've got Greg Gaines as maybe their most high-profile defensive lineman right now. It's bad. They can stop the run a little bit because Greg Gaines is he's pretty good at being able to take up blockers, and we don't have a lot of muscle in the interior offensive line to push guys like that off the point of attack. But I think we can run the ball on them if we run to the outside, off tackle, outside zone. Do that kind of stuff, and I believe you will be able to find some success running the ball with K9. So let's stick to the tenets of this offense this week. But the reason why I'm confident about this game, and I am confident, I'm confident this offense is going to play well, is Geno Smith. And we saw it last year. At the time, we thought it was just kind of an aberration, a random fluke. But it's not. Geno Smith's game is much better against a team like the Rams than Russell Wilson's game. And straight up, one of the reasons why we've had a hard time against the Rams over the last couple years was against the Rams, Wilson usually played poorly. You go back to 2019, the Paul Allen game. He played well in that game, but since then, when we go up against the Rams, it's hard for Russell. It's been hard for Russell pretty much every time. I think we won one of those games, and we scored like 20 points. Defense won that game more than anything. So, Geno Smith's game, which is all about the short and intermediate passing attack. You might notice this Seahawks offense hasn't taken a lot of deep shots lately. That's going to be good for a game like this. This Rams team, they want to take away the deep stuff, and they did a great job of it against Russell. That's why Russell never played that well against the Rams these last few years. But that Geno Smith can attack the weaknesses of this Rams defense. And you've also got Jalen Ramsey probably following DK Metcalf around. This is something me and the Hawks Nest talked about on stream a couple days ago. Jalen Ramsey probably going to be following Metcalf around. When a cornerback has to follow a receiver, it diminishes their game because it puts them in unusual situations where they have to push off a different foot. They have to do everything mirrored sometimes. Sometimes they end up in the slot. It just messes things up for them. So we already know that DK can beat Ramsey. Last year, second game against the Rams, DK was getting open on Ramsey constantly. Wilson just never really looked his way, or looked his way very little. So this game, that's a matchup that you should be able to exploit if you're Geno Smith. So I believe that's going to work in our favor. Ramsey, I'm not that impressed with him this year. I don't think he's playing that well. He's obviously still a good corner, obviously still their best corner. But if he's following DK around, I like that. I like the possibility of Troy Hill not playing in this game or playing at less than 100%, because he's probably going to have to follow Lockett around then. If Ramsey's going to shadow Metcalf, then Hill's the guy you're probably going to sick on Lockett. That's a matchup Lockett can win all day, especially if Hill's not himself. And if Hill's out and they got to go deeper into that depth chart to find a cornerback, even more so. Just attack that intermediate area of the Rams defense. Short to intermediate passes. They're going to allow those. You can move down the field. And I think this Seahawks team is going to be good for it. And I believe Geno will lead the way to that win. So I'm feeling something like 24-10. I don't feel a blowout. I kind of feel like we're going to do what the Chiefs did to the Rams last week, where the Chiefs, yeah, they probably could have won that game by 50, but they didn't. They just showed up. They just got up by enough to win the game, put the game away in the third quarter, and then they just shut it down. They didn't need to. There are no style points in the NFL. This isn't college football. Winning a game by a couple touchdowns when you could win the game by 40 points is fine. So I'm not expecting a complete murder. I'm not expecting some ridiculous blowout where national networks start going away from the game in like the late third or something like that. They flip to another game because it's not competitive or nothing. But I think we're going to take care of business, get the win, get out of there. I feel something like 24-10, maybe 27-10, something around there. And I think that's going to be more than sufficient. So this team, man, like I said, they're missing so much. This is like a preseason game. This is a preseason game where one team decides they're going to play their starters and the other team decides, no, we're going to take this game off. Except the Rams aren't taking the game off. They just don't have anybody. They really don't. They're missing their best pass rusher, their best run stuffer. Their pass rush in general has already been mediocre this year, if you look at it. Leonard Floyd has not been nearly as good this year as he was in previous years for them. They obviously don't have Von Miller. Terrell Lewis has been kind of bad, and now he's not even playing. Like, this defensive front should not be any kind of a threat to your offensive line. So give Geno a little bit of time, and he can make the plays. Watch out for Bobby. He is having a really nice year, actually. He's playing better than he did for us last year, I think. And he's earning that money fairly well. It's just, like I've said before, Bobby Wagner is not a guy who, at this point, is going to individually put a team on his back and single-handedly lift a defense to greatness. He's not that level of player at this point. So you get what you get, where Bobby's having a great individual season and it amounts to very little. So keep on schedule. Keep it short, keep it sweet, get the ball out of your hands quickly. And I don't think this Rams team can do that much to hurt us. I just don't. That's my read on it right now. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'll see you guys later today. Go Hawks. If it doesn't happen, if we do lose, then we've got to completely reevaluate everything we think about this team. But I'm feeling fine. And it's not necessarily coming from a place of believing these Seahawks are world beaters. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that what they have should be enough to beat a team that is this destitute. And that's what these Rams are right now. They are destitute. Should be able to take care of it. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks.